Welcome, fight fans, to another edition of Coffee with the Champ. So happy that you guys could tune in. My next guest may need an introduction. Some fights are won in the ring. My next guest not only had the privilege of being with a well-known fighter, but the fight has continued. The fight is outside the ring now. She needs no introduction, but then again, she does. My next guest is the wife of the former WBO heavyweight champion in the world, Tommy the Duke Morrison. Ladies and gentlemen, fight fans, let me introduce Trisha Morrison. Trish, welcome to Coffee with the Champ. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Good
I'm
to see you.
doing good.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Thank you so much. This is my first time on Facebook Live, so don't quite know what to expect. I know a lot of people make little comments or something at the bottom while we talk, so I can't see those.
Right. Well, you don't have to worry about those. Trish, let's go back a little bit. I think about Tommy Morrison, and I think about, who he was. You and I have talked previously. I had an opportunity to talk to him one time.
Right.
His career, he had a pretty decent amateur career of, I think it was 222 amateur fights against 20 losses. He turned around and he forged his age to fight in tough men competitions, and then he came on the boxing scene and was just a phenom, in the time that he was there.
His record, Dale. Actually, I wrote it down because I knew you'd ask me.
Okay.
The amateur record for Tommy was 290.
Okay.
And 21 losses with 263 knockouts.
Okay.
And then he went into the tough man contest with diapers on, right?
Right.
And he won 50 and lost 1.
Okay.
And then his boxing career, which was, as you know, cut short at the age of 26, just turned 27.
Right.
Was ultimately 51-3-1 with 44 knockouts. So it was a really good record, and as you can tell, that was his life.
Yeah. Tommy, he was definitely, a force to be reckoned with. People have opinions about his ability to box, and I tell people this, everybody has an opinion, and they're like noses. Everyone has one. But unless you stepped in the ring and competed against somebody like him, even with his record, I tell people, well, you mean to tell me that all the guys that he fought, you may want to ask them, could he fight? Because obviously they wouldn't have come up on the losing end. Trish, I was in a conversation yesterday, because the media, and we'll segue into, this show. The media or social media can be so, I don't know, it's almost like the gospel people think it is. Making allegations and accusations and just saying things that they know nothing about. Recently, I was in a conversation with someone about Riddick Bowe, and they were saying this and they were saying that, and he's this and he's that. And, I'm the type of person at times I have to come to somebody's defense, although it's not warranted. But sometimes you just have to do that to clear the air, especially if you know someone. And then
absolutely, and I'm the same. You talk about Riddick Bowe. Tommy and Bowe did an exhibition fight, which again a lot of people don't know about.
Right.
And this was, I think, in 2010. And you see a lot of the fighters that are always fighting in the ring, but you never see them outside of the ring doing stuff together.
Sure.
Or at least the media doesn't portray what they actually really do outside of the ring. And if you can just picture Tommy wrapping his hands himself, because I have no idea how to hand wrap, right? And then you've got Riddick Bowe in the other corner getting ready for his exhibition fight.
Right.
And Tommy looking down at Riddick Bowe's shoes and going, Bowe, you've got your shoes on the wrong feet, right? And they're both absolutely laughing like crazy. And the Duke is down on his knees, getting the boots off the wrong foot and putting them on the right foot for Bowe.
Right.
So anyway, I just thought I'd let you know that.
Oh, sure. And that brings us into, where we're at presently. Backtracking once again, the media or the social media can be so cruel. Tommy's career was abruptly came to a halt due to the allegations that he had contracted HIV. No one knows family, or no one knows someone like either the wife or relatives. At this time, could you set the record straight in detail of what you can and cannot say and expose? But the media needs to hear this as well as fight fans, to let people know exactly what happened to Tommy.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And since Tommy died, which was in 2013, I promised to carry on the fight for him, right? All what I'm going to say today is actually public record. You can actually go onto the docket for the case. I filed a case against the Nevada State Athletic Commission and Mark Ratner and Dr. Margaret Goodman, and also Quest Diagnostics, which is the lab in Las Vegas. Throughout the whole 8-year lawsuit, Dale, it's gone from federal court in Las Vegas to the Ninth Circuit Court in San Francisco to the Supreme Court. It's now, it went back again into federal court in Nevada a few months ago. And now it's back in the Ninth Circuit Court in San Francisco. So I am not giving up on this fight. We are going to win this. Just to set the record straight, the rules for 1996 to get a license, I found out that the defendants actually lied in court, in all the courts, to all the judges, all the justices, about the rule in 1996. The rule did not require any blood being drawn, no blood whatsoever. The legislature had not passed that. So basically what you needed was to be physically and mentally fit to get a license in 1996. So Tommy was mentally and physically fit as per the physician in Las Vegas. So that's one thing to set the record straight. And then, if you've got a post-mortem report that says he did not have the retrovirus, and a retrovirus is HIV in scientific terms. So I've got the post-mortem where they looked into the blood and found no HIV. And that document was subpoenaed by the defendants, but guess what? They did not file it in court. They withheld it. So they withheld the post-mortem. In addition to that, they withheld the ante-mortem, a test that was done on Tommy in Boston, Massachusetts. And these are all reputable labs with pathologists. And another report saying that he had no HIV. And guess what? The defendants subpoenaed it and did not file it. So, and in addition to that, I had all the AIDS-defining diseases tested on Tommy in 2012 and 2013. So say, for example, a person has HIV and it progressed to AIDS, then you would turn positive for certain diseases that are classified as AIDS-defining diseases. Well, again, guess what, Dale? All those tests came back negative. And guess what? the defendants, they subpoenaed medical records from the facilities, hospital facilities. They received a disc. What they did was they printed out the pages that they wanted the court to see, and they transferred them onto, say, another disc, and they put that into the court records and did not file over 300-400 pages. And guess what? Those pages were the tests that showed negative for any AIDS diseases. So that's what I found out in 8 years. I mean, they could have told me right at the very beginning when I filed the case that, yeah, you're right, the post-mortem shows no HIV, the ante-mortem shows no HIV. You're correct, Mrs. Morrison. There was no rule set in place by the legislature to draw blood. So there you've got a civil rights violation right there. And you're right, he didn't have any AIDS diseases, and that would have been the end of it. That would have been 2014. But no, they lied to the judges and they withheld documents. So it's been quite a fight. So right now, Dale, we're back in the Ninth Circuit Court because one of the hospital facilities found a piece of biological evidence, right, which I filed a motion with the court in Nevada, and I asked them to please test this biological evidence for DNA HIV, which really to me is like, okay, if you don't believe the post-mortem, if you don't believe the ante-mortem from two separate labs, if you don't believe all the negative AIDS diseases, then, you know, finally, we've got a little piece of evidence, biological evidence, that you can test to prove me wrong and prove you right. Anyway, so the defendants did not want to test it. Okay. Why? I don't know. Why do you think, Dale? Right?
That's amazing. That is amazing.
So the judge denied my motion. So I filed an appeal to that motion saying, hey, you know, I would like that biological evidence tested for DNA HIV. So I filed the motion, and you're not going to believe this. I mean, just about everything's happened in the past 8 years in this lawsuit. Things have popped up, and it's taken different turns and everything. So I filed the appeal and went to the Federal Express office like I always do, for it to arrive the next day, which was the cutoff day. And I've never had a problem with FedEx. It's always arrived. I've paid the extra for it to get there. Anyway, so I mail it, and I think it's arrived in Vegas the next day, as it should do. I don't see anything filed. I come to find out, Dale, that because of the polar vortex storm, right? I mean, can you believe that? A polar vortex storm delayed my package in Atlanta with 1.8 million other packages, all stranded at Atlanta airport, right? No planes could take off other than planes to distribute COVID vaccinations to certain areas in the country, which FedEx has a contract with the White House on that. Well, so that took precedence over an appeal that had to be there. So we had to fight for, I would say, 2 months now, appealing the appeal, right? And now suddenly, not only is Tommy Morrison in the lawsuit and his ante-mortem, post-mortem, negative AIDS test, but also an act of God. God is now involved in this case. COVID is now involved in this case. Dr. Fauci is now involved in this case. And so, anyway, to cut a long story short, the appeal got granted, right? Last week. So that means we can move forward with the appeal for the DNA HIV testing, which still needs to be granted. So I got the appeal of the appeal granted, and now I am pursuing granting of the appeal for the DNA HIV testing. Then as soon as that got granted for the appeal, They then came out with a docket that the case has now been sent to mediation. It's ordered for mediation.
Okay. Okay.
And that's where I have to stop. I can't give any information. It's top secret about what's going to happen with mediation.
Not a problem. So I guess, to wrap this part of the show up. In other words, the layman's terms, the bottom line is the allegations that were made against Tommy Morrison having AIDS was false.
Totally false. Yes, there is no document that shows that he had AIDS.
Okay.
There's nothing on the death certificate. There's no physical document or affidavit signed by anybody to say he had AIDS.
Wow, that's to take away someone's
other than the media.
Other than the media. Oh yeah.
Other than the media.
And that's amazing. Yeah. Right, I'm sorry, Trish.
And then you've got, like you said, on social media, people will go, no, he definitely had AIDS. And I'll go, okay, then can you please provide me a post-mortem, an ante-mortem, and all the AIDS diseases that he had, plus the names of the tests and his results, please. And then poof, they disappear because they can't.
Imagine that. I tell you what, on social media and Facebook, you have all the experts and all the doctors. I'm a fan by day and a doctor by night. It's amazing.
Right.
But on a brighter note, tell us who Tommy was. What kind of guy was he? You told us a little bit about him, but enlighten the fans on how he was as a person and when he was outside of the ring.
Right. He was, first of all, he was obviously very depressed because he loved boxing. He wanted a license so bad to get back into boxing. He was kicked out at the age of 26, 27 from professional boxing, which, by the way, Dale, 10 years later, in this lawsuit, they produced something which Tommy never saw, was that they lifted the medical suspension on July 11th, 2006. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
Yes. Because if I'm not mistaken, he fought in West Virginia. Was it 2005 or 2006?
2007.
Yeah,
but all the commissions still said that he had been suspended.
Wow.
So, it actually had nothing to do with that document. In West Virginia, you did not need to have HIV testing.
Right.
There were actually quite a few commissions that did not test because you have to go through the legislator in order to set a new rule in the commissions. It's kind of like, the vaccinations now, their emergency authorization use, EAU, right?
Right.
They haven't actually been, solidified by the legislator that to confirm them, But anyway, as a guy, he would always say, Trisha, just because I'm a boxer, that doesn't mean I'm stupid. Right. He would say, I can chew bubble gum, talk, and walk at the same time. Right?
Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
And he was very, very smart, and he would always say, I used to be an honor roll student at school.
Wow.
So he was pretty smart. He loved his fans very, very much, and I can tell why after being with his fans now for 8 years, purely on Facebook. They're a very dedicated bunch of fans that I've ever seen.
Sure.
And I don't think that he knew how much he was really loved.
Wow.
It would be nice for him to see the love and support that his fans are giving him today in this fight, which is the biggest fight of his career.
Sure.
But he loved kids, he loved animals, he loved coffee, right? And he continued to work out. So he went to the gym in the morning, in the afternoon, and we opened up a TCB gym in Wichita, Kansas, which is again something that the media have not shown. And that was for kids from a really bad neighborhood, you know, where they'd get shot every day in that neighborhood. And he was there, and he would always say, this will be the safest gym anywhere in the country, because these guys will protect their gym.
Wow.
And it's true.
Wow.
And all they had to do was to make sure that it was clean, and he'd be in there in the ring with them, and he would be teaching them how to box and how not to get killed in the ring, is how he would say it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I could go on and on and on and talk to you about him.
He was I used to watch every time Tommy fought, a couple of stories, and you and I have embellished it the other day. I remember when he fought Joe Hitt. And if I'm not mistaken, he wasn't his jaw fractured in this fight.
Broken hands, broken jaws,
jaw, and he still persevered.
He
fought a friend of mine from Newark, New Jersey, named Art Tucker. And Art Tucker, when I talked to him, he told me personally, he said, let me tell you something. If Tommy lands that hook on you, you can forget it. He's like, your unborn children are going to feel it. And he also, a gentleman that you and I both know, Michael Bent.
Yeah.
And I told you the story. I had met Michael Bent in the Gleason's gym years ago. And, you know, and I told him, you know, after he beat Tommy for the WBO title. And I told him, I said, listen, I picked Tommy to win. He goes, you did what? He goes, I should get up from here and slap you. So I was like, man, you only had 12 pro fights. I was like, Tommy was a killer. And I said, before you slap me, just tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
When Tommy caught you with that shot, you were out on your feet. And he goes, yeah. And I said, he came back and hit you with another shot and it woke you up. He goes, you're absolutely right. And he had the highest respect for Tommy, highest praise, and said, you know, he's definitely, you know, unfortunately, sometimes the powers that be only see fighters based upon their skin color, which they should be based upon their ability, and that's the bottom line, period.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, that's what Tommy used to say as well. Yeah.
Right.
And you know what, Mike Bent, such a sweet guy. He, the first boxer that contacted me to give their condolences when Tommy passed away was George Chuvalo, right?
Wow.
He made a point of contacting me and letting me know, you know, how great Tommy was.
Sure.
And then the next one was Mike Bent, and he called me, and we've remained friends ever since.
Okay.
And he's such a nice guy, very smart, you know. We talk a lot. He's been kind of my coach. When I went into court the first time in Nevada, he texted me and he gave me some words, you know, how to handle things in court, right? As a coach. And then just has been super, super nice, real nice guy.
Very nice guy. There was a fight that when he fought Ray Mercer, which was an incredible fight. And I'm going to tell you something right here, right now. Tommy was beating him on the first 3 rounds easily. Yeah. And I'll go on record in saying this. During that time, no other heavyweight would have stood up to that onslaught. Right. That night. Even Ray Mercer had made a comment. He was like, this kid can punch. Yeah. And it was just fortunate enough that Ray Mercer had a granite and an, I say, concrete gym, because Tommy had good hand speed, and I mean, he could fight, and that's the bottom line, you know. So yeah, I got to meet Ray. Ray came over for Tommy's opening of his TCB gym in 2010. We had Leon Spinks and his wife, and Ernie Shavers was there, and Ray Mercer and Tommy. So all 4 of them
were at Tommy's opening. So we went to pick up Ray Mercer from the airport.
Okay.
And I don't think that they'd seen each other for quite a while. So Wichita Airport was very small.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got these two heavyweights hugging each other at Wichita Airport, which was kind of fun. And then I had a yellow Volkswagen Beetle. So you can imagine putting two heavyweights into a yellow Volkswagen Beetle, right? And then Ray Mercer saying directly to Tommy, and I know it's gone viral on the internet, is, Tommy, you punched me so hard that I kept farting in the ring, he said, right? And Tommy just laughed. Both of them were laughing. And Tommy, when Tommy and I first met, he wanted to make sure that I watched all his fights, right? Because I knew nothing about boxing. I hadn't even seen Rocky V until actually about 2-3 years ago when I did an interview.
Sure.
And so he gave me all his VHS tapes, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, I'll just do it because he's asked me. So I started to watch them, and of course I came up against the Mercer fight. And as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, this is disgusting. This is disgraceful. What's the ref doing? Why isn't he stopping this? So I look around and I say, Tommy, what happened? And Tommy's fast asleep, right? And so I wake him up. I said, how can you let me watch this on my own? I said, this is horrible. And he looked at me and he said, because I know the ending, he said. And then he just went back to sleep again. So I turned it off, and I couldn't watch it. And in fact, we were at the International Boxing Hall of Fame, I think that year, and we bumped into somebody that knew that ref, right? Okay. Perez.
Yeah, Perez, yeah.
And said that ref had just frozen. He didn't know what to do.
Wow.
And that's why he literally froze. He didn't know how to pull Ray off Tommy as he was bashing him.
Wow.
But I tell you, I had some MRIs of Tommy's brain, and clearly you can see the destruction there of that fight.
Wow.
Even though Tommy got up and walked away and was able to fight and win again after that. I mean, that's absolutely incredible.
Oh, absolutely, to
take that beating. But that Mercer fight was not fun. But,
no. But like you said, he came back and he turned around and,
he came back after the Bent fight.
Yeah,
he came back after the Mercer fight.
Right.
So and Ross Purity, he got on really well with Ross here in Wichita. They worked together, and Ross got to meet Tommy's son. So it's kind of nice what happened, after boxing, but Tommy still wanted to be in the ring.
Sure. Wow. Every time I can't help, there's always things that sometimes you have in common with fighters and stuff like that. I will always remember Tommy Morrison for two reasons. One, I could tell you he fought my friend Art Tucker, and secondly, Tommy Morrison's birthday and my birthday are on the same day.
January 2nd.
Yeah, January 2nd, and he's just amazing, and just an amazing guy. Trish, I could go on and on and on, but I need to wrap the show up. Two things I need to say. Please come back on the show. Would love to have you and talk to you. And the second thing I have to ask is, I had a picture of Tommy, kind of like that one you have back there on the back wall. And I gave it away to a girl that had a crush on Tommy at the time. She's about 15 years old. She goes, "Oh, I love him." and me parting with my boxing memorabilia is some of the hardest things I had to do. But if you look on my wall here, I have, quite a few fighters and stuff like that. in your spare time, if you have a picture of Tommy, I would love to have him back on the wall and
Absolutely.
to honor him. And I'm gonna send something out to you as a token of my appreciation on the show. But Trish, you have my deepest admiration, much love, and much respect to you.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping all the legalities and everything that you have to go through on your fight to regain the character assassination against your husband can be put to rest finally, and you can win one of the greatest battles for him outside the ring. I appreciate your time. Thank you for spending time with me and Coffee with the Champ, and I look forward to you. We'll keep in touch. Please keep in touch with me and let me know what's going on, and you're more than welcome to come back to the show. Okay?
Absolutely. I'd love to. Yeah, I will be back once we won.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Look forward to that. I look forward
All
to
right.
that. Thank you. You have a great day. God bless. Take care.
You too. God bless you too.
Okay,
Thank you. Bye.
Fight fans, that concludes our edition to Coffee with the Champ. Once again, I want to thank our guest, Trisha Morrison, Tommy Morrison's wife, exemplary woman fighting for the cause of her husband. There you have it. Paperwork, all the legalities, everything that has transpired, so people can stop writing on Facebook about how he had AIDS, and unless I can see your doctorate degree, your PhD, or whatever the case you have as a doctor, you probably want to hold all your accusations until the final report is out. That's our show for today. Go to YouTube, give it a like, thumbs up. Please subscribe. Not tomorrow, but the following Friday, we'll be back with a great show. Thank you for tuning in, and God bless. And pour yourself a hot cup of coffee and tune in the following week for Coffee with the Champ. Take care.